Hi, I'm Rabbi Alon Ferenczi speaking to you from Heska Emunah Synagogue of Knoxville, Tennessee. Part of a continuing series of Torah sign-offs to give you some inspiration and hope and faith and study for the Shabbat that's coming. This week is my bar mitzvah portion, Parashat BaHa'alotkha, Numbers chapters 8 through roughly 12. In it we find, among other places, the description of the manna, the pennies from heaven that fed the Israelite people in the wilderness, that God allowed to descend onto the grass like dew every morning, that the people would gather and find sustenance from, all the way through their voyages in the desert, were described variously as like cakes and coriander, or a taste that anyone could experience as he or she wished, something like tofu or mushrooms, the way they absorb flavors of that which is around them. And yet, they were unsatisfied. The Israelites cried out for meat in this week's Parashah and this week's Torah reading. What does that mean? There's something in human nature that we want to have more than what our neighbor has. That having the same isn't satisfactory, but being comparatively wealthy matters more. This is even proven in psychological studies and sociological work. And Isaac Belzer, writing roughly about 150 years ago, noticed this too. That the manna descended on all equally, either rich or poor, without difference in wealth, each in complete equality. Yet the irritations the people felt were by family, since they had all stood at Sinai, but they wanted to be differentiated. This comment speaks so much to me of the events of the past weeks. God's love descends on us equally. God's providence is there for all of us. We are all at our core living, breathing, hearts beating human beings with different talents and perspectives, but not differentiated by family, color of skin, economic background, zip code. God has made us all at some core and essential way equally, and yet we have turned upon each other and created systems that oppress and define others differently to ourselves. It's a part of human nature that we're going to have to struggle against and admit to our own racisms and our own prejudices as part of who we are before we can conquer them, before we can make them explicit and conscious and change ourselves, our communities, and the systems that we are embedded in for good and mostly ill right now. But to quote a congregant and friend, my faith is greater than my fear, and I hope it is for you too. I think, like the manna and the way God gave it to us all in equal portions, I think someday, with enough conscious effort and quiet conversations, we can come around to realize that each human being is unique and yet equally valued before God. This will take, to quote another friend, an African-American friend, conversations and listening without rebuttal. When you hear the pain of someone else, don't excuse it away. When you hear the pain of an African-American or Latino friend caught in a system that grinds them down, don't respond, I'm not racist. That doesn't help the situation. Listen. Allow them to be vulnerable. Allow their fear and grief and pain to settle in you and to be changed by it. And frankly, you are racist. I'm racist. We're all racist. And the best we can do is acknowledge it and work with it and against it to change. God bless, and Shabbat Shalom. When you enjoy talks like this and others like it, please do like, share, and subscribe to Eclectic Cleric on YouTube. Shabbat Shalom.